Can I just welcome you all here? It's great to see you. It's also good to be here with our Tourism and Hospitality Minister Louise Upston in what is this jaw-dropping Weta Workshop experience here in Auckland. And I just think it's an impressive reminder, isn't it, of what is a creative, world-leading creativity and movie-making ability that we have in this country. But I want to say to Sir Richard Taylor and to all of his team, congratulations on getting this experience out of your head, Richard, into this experience for people to see as well. I hope you and your team feel incredibly proud of what is an amazing and fabulous tourism attraction in its own right that you've built here. It's absolutely special. Can I also just thank our various tourism stakeholders and industry leaders who have joined us today and just say thank you for the great work you do as a sector, but importantly also with your individual organisations. And this is an important announcement in what I've been calling our rolling thunder of going for growth initiatives to drive much more economic growth into New Zealand. And as you've probably got a sense of it through the course of this year, we are obsessed with economic growth because it is the only thing and only way that Kiwis get higher incomes, they get more money in their back pockets, they have more jobs and a future for their kids and grandkids. And that's the way in which we can afford better public services like health and education, which we all desperately want to see happen. So we're here today to announce that the government's latest initiative to boost tourism and to boost New Zealand as an international travel destination with a $13.5 million boost to Tourism New Zealand's global marketing activity. And this time, the focus will be on encouraging visitors from China and Australia, the United States, India, Germany and South Korea. It's estimated that as a result, there'll be more than 23,000 extra international visitors spending an extra $100 million across the country. When tourism grows, so does our economy, and because more tourists on our shores means more people in our restaurants, in our bars and our shops, that's more money helping Kiwi businesses grow so they can hire more people and pay higher wages. Our government is incredibly clear that we want more tourists visiting our shores. It's a very competitive market, and our job is to make sure that we're at the very top of people's lists of places that they want to come and visit. We are making good progress with international visitors. I think recent numbers I've seen, total visitor numbers are up 10%, but their spending, importantly, is up over 60%. But there's a lot more for us to do, and with that I'll pass off to Louise to take you through a little bit more of today's announcement.
Thanks, Prime Minister. And yes, this Weta Workshop experience is just absolutely phenomenal, and I hope that more people have the opportunity to come and visit. So if we think about this Weta Workshop Unleashed is a really great descriptor of what we want to follow, because we want to really unleash the opportunities for visitors to come and experience New Zealand, and I think we're going from strength to strength. All of the stats show that the sector will play a leading role as economic growth continues. And as Prime Minister, you've said, today's $13.5 million investment for Tourism New Zealand will encourage more international visitors across multiple markets, honing in on China, Australia, the United States, India, Germany and South Korea. And tourism is already featuring with some big numbers. It now contributes 7.5% of GDP and continues to be our second highest export earner. But beyond these numbers are people and why they dreamt of one day visiting New Zealand. We already know that our country has so much going for it, and now we just need to reinforce Tourism New Zealand's global marketing and push the story further and wider. 2025 is our chance to reinforce the value of tourism and to show what our humming, vibrant little country has to offer. We'll have more to say about some of the specific campaigns in the future, but our overall message is clear. New Zealand tourism is open for business.
Well done. Thank you, Lou. Well, listen, before we get into any questions, I'll just quickly recap on the fact we're not having a post-cab meeting in Wellington. It's a recess week this week in Parliament. That doesn't mean that the government is not working. In fact, we're going flat out. We've got some more announcements planned through the course of the week, obviously, and then I'll be heading to the UK at the end of this week to meet with King Charles and also Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer to talk about trade and security issues in the region and also around the world. And with that, we're happy to take your questions. And can I suggest we deal with the tourism questions first, and then we'll get to the issues of the day after that, if that's okay. Let you go.
Prime Minister, in terms of the different countries that we're going
Yep.
Is there going to be any sort of country that's going to take priority? We know that China is a slow recovering market in terms of tourists coming to New Zealand. I think earlier this year stats shows that it's about 50% of visitors from China compared to pre-pandemic levels. So is there going to be any differences in how we deal with these different destinations?
Yeah, look, I'll let Lou talk to that. Yep.
Yeah, so the China market's sitting at 60%, so we know we've got some real opportunities there. So the intention with this funding is to look at specific campaigns into specific countries. So we've got our current markets, Australia's going well on the back of our earlier campaign. What we've seen in the stats announced today, the United States, we've had the highest month ever for visitor numbers out of the States. China, we need to get the numbers back, so we'll have a different focus there. And of course, with our recent visit to India, that's more of an emerging market. So we'll have a different strategy depending on which country we're focused on.
Yeah.
And just on the back of that, which type of traveller does the government place the most value on? With the upcoming campaigns, who are you targeting specifically?
Yeah, so I mean, the amazing thing about the world, if you think about it, 195 countries, 8 billion people, there's about 154 million people that are what are called active considerers of a trip to New Zealand. So they've kind of got it on their bucket list of top 5 places they want to visit. And they plan to come to New Zealand in the next 3 years. And they also are planning to spend an amount of money while they're here that's above a threshold. And that's what we call the active considerer opportunity. So if you think about the 8 billion, we're down to 154 million. And our job is to convince them to come here before they die, because it would be an absolute tragedy if they don't make it to New Zealand before they pass. So that is our job, and the job of our marketing agencies and Tourism New Zealand is to make the case. And that's why this money targeted into those particular markets where we've identified where there's opportunity for us to build back our volumes is really kind of important. But it is actually genuinely people who love New Zealand, have it on their list, want to be here in the next 3 years, plan to spend a good amount of money each day while they're here, and it's one top 5 destination for them.
And where's the money come from?
It comes from our international visitor levy funds. Yeah. Cool.
Prime Minister, why did you not consult the Foreign Affairs Minister?
Sorry, we're going to move off our tourism questions. Are we all good? Was anyone else? Did you have it? Yeah, go. So we'll come to us there.
Just in terms of public transport, city of Auckland, we know these rail closures going on at
Sorry, there's what? The
rail closures.
Yeah,
The track
yes.
down at the moment for 2
Yeah.
weeks. They were also closed for about a month in January this year.
Yeah.
How confident are you that by next year, perhaps in half of this time, that our public transport is going to be up to standards and
Yeah, well, a city like this has obviously the convention centre opening, at the beginning of next year. We've also got the CRL line ready to go and open up as well. So it's going to be very important that actually Kiwi Rail is running a very good repairs, maintenance program, and I know subsequent ministers have made that point very clearly to them, and that's our expectation of them. We want to make sure that the city is set up for great success, and with the convention centre and the City Rail line coming on stream, that's going to be fantastic for the city.
are you confident that the CRL is going to make it on time?
Well, I mean, everything I've seen, it's been a difficult project, it's been a long-run project, but it's an important one, and it's getting closer and closer. So I know the team leading it are doing everything they possibly can, but we will keep pushing, and it's important they do it right and they get it done well. It's taken a bit longer than everybody had hoped. It's probably cost us a bit more than we had thought as well at the beginning, but it is a long-term piece of infrastructure that is very important to unlocking a lot more growth here in Auckland City. Okay, we'll go to you, yeah.
Why did you not consult the Foreign Affairs Minister before making a major foreign affairs policy speech?
No, I was talking about trade, and as you know, there's about 5 ministers involved on our trade agenda. Obviously, Todd McLeod, Trade and Investment, Winston Peters, Foreign Affairs, Nicola Willis, Economic Growth and Finance, and also Judith Collins on Defence, and myself, obviously. So it's quite normal in the way that I run my government. I don't expect to see I don't expect to be consulted on every single decision or every single speech of any given minister, and I certainly don't plan to run my speeches past every other minister as well.
Did you consult the Trade Minister on it?
Well, what we had is a very good cabinet conversation, and the 5 of us have been working as a tight team for a long period of time since we formed a government, and we've got a very consistent position around the tariffs and trade wars. What we're saying very clearly is we don't think that's in New Zealand's interests. All of us are aligned on that. All of us are aligned on having a cool, calm and collected approach to it, which is what we've done over the course of the last week, and I think commentators have acknowledged that. We want to have a positive and constructive relationship with the US. It's not a surprise to us, the tariffs, because that's what the President campaigned on. And importantly, in my telephone calls with world leaders, what I'm doing is, first and foremost, seeing how they're responding, encouraging them to respond in a very cool and calm way. Make sure that if there's anything that we can accelerate in our bilateral relationships, we continue to do that. And then thirdly, between the different trading blocs that exist around the world, making sure that we actually affirm the rules-based system so that disputes and tariffs between, say, the EU and the CPTP countries or ASEAN countries doesn't become an issue in itself.
Winston Peters has said explicitly that he hopes you get the message and pick up the phone and call him next time. What do you make of that? Because surely it's concerning for the Foreign Affairs Minister to be reprimanding you publicly.
Well, I just say to you, we have a very strong cabinet alignment. We spoke about our response to this as a cabinet some weeks ago. We spoke about it as the issue emerged early last week, and we are very, very aligned around that. But I've got big people doing big jobs and big portfolios. I hold them to account. I expect them to be empowered and crack on with it. And that doesn't mean that we're going to have every time passing off speeches and decisions between each other when they're fully empowered to do so. But having said that, Winston and I and Nicola and Todd and Judith, we're all very aligned on tariffs and trade wars are bad. We're saying a very cool, calm, collected approach. We're going to be very positive, constructive with the Americans. We're making sure we're deepening up bilateral relationships. That's the work that we've been doing for the last 16 months. And we're also ensuring that our trading blocs don't go to, don't put tariffs on each other as well. No, he's doing a great job. Like, honestly, you think about what Winston's done over the last 16 months. You think about... No, I wouldn't. It's a media beat up. I'll be honest with you. You're trying to make a mountain out of a molehill. Sorry?
The Deputy Prime Minister is criticising you. It's not really a media beat up. This is something that's playing out. Because you're not talking to each other.
No. We talk to each other all the time. We do. We honestly. It's a different way. The way we work as a government, we're a good team. We're very aligned. We have a number of ministers that are accountable for lifting the urgency and the intensity of our international relationships. I'm involved with that. Winston's involved with that. Judith's involved with that. Todd's involved with that. Oh, well, look, no, it's not a surprise because we've had a cabinet conversation about the approach, which is let's stay calm, let's actually deal with what we've got to deal with. And I think you've seen us deal with that incredibly well over the last week or so. I think, our response as a leadership team has been excellent relative to what we've seen from other leaders who've often been a bit, have been jumped around and moved by quite a lot.
Are you worried about Winston Peters going rogue once he hands over the Deputy Prime Minister?
No, we have a mature coalition government made up of three parties. I said right from day one, this is different from what New Zealand has experienced before. This is very similar to what you see in Western Europe, where you have an MMP environment, it's mature. You have three parties with different positions. There's a lot more that unites us, on the core agenda of growing the economy, law and order, health and education. But also we have space in our coalition government for people of different parties to express different views. And that's quite okay. We're quite comfortable with it. We've been rolling that way since day one. It's all good. Sorry?
It's a horrible word to say.
Well, it's actually not a word, it's just, yeah. Sorry, yeah.
But the CPTPP, you've had conversations with world leaders. Can you give us a little bit of an indication about what those conversations are looking like?
Yeah, there's three purposes for the reason why I've been talking to different world leaders. The first and foremost is to understand how they are perceiving and responding to the tariffs. And it's to make sure and to reiterate to them to be quite cool and calm about it all, in the same way that we have been domestically, but encouraging them to do that. And it's a good conversation leader to leader because we're all wrestling with these issues, and it's a good chance to talk that through. The second thing is to actually look to accelerate. Is there anything more that we can be doing together in a bilateral sense? New Zealand working with Singapore, New Zealand working with Thailand, New Zealand. And we've, as you know, I've made a number of visits to a number of countries over the last 16 months. And we have these work plans where we're trying to accelerate and deepen the relationship. So the question is, right, is there anything we should be doing more that we should get our teams working harder and faster on together? And the third thing is to make sure that actually everybody stays in formation, that what we don't need is tariffs being levied from the CPTPP countries into the EU countries or the ASEAN countries into EU. That actually the different trading blocks that exist should affirm the trading rules that we've been working to and make sure that we uphold those. So that's been the nature of the conversations I've had. Very positive, really good conversations, and also very good to get some perspective about how people have been. Each country's got a different set of challenges and a different set of and a different set of economic conditions to work with as well.
I've got two more economic questions, but do you think these conversations are going to avoid a global recession? Do you think, like, ultimately that's what this is aimed at, right? Calming the waters?
Yeah, we do.
That way, or?
Well, we just want to make the case for advocating for free trade, like we always have. New Zealand has done exceptionally well over a number of decades under a number of different governments of different persuasions. That's been very unified around, hey, tariffs and trade wars are bad, because what happens, if our farmers get caught up importing machinery that's levelled with a tariff, that hurts the farmer, but it also hurts the cafe owner that the farmer goes and spends his money in as well, or her money in. So that's a really important thing, that we actually make the case for just people being mature, calm, consistent, and actually where we can, where we've got like-minded countries, continue to make that case very strongly, and that's what that's been about.
And you're saying there
Sorry.
that you're aligned with Winston leaders, but in the same breath you're still calling it a trade war, which seems to be exactly what you're saying you shouldn't do. So
No, what I'm saying to you very clearly is that New Zealand's long-standing position, and that's the position of our government and all of our cabinet ministers involved with this, is that tariffs and trade wars are bad. Winston's saying it, I'm saying it, Todd McClay is saying it, Nicola Willis is saying it, and Judith Collins is saying it. They're the 5 ministers that are involved in our international relationships. And so we've been very consistent on that point. And that's been a long-standing point of New Zealand for a long period of time. So that's point one. Point two is then we've just got to be very calm and collected as we've moved our way through those issues. And I think we have done that over the last week and a half, and will continue to do so.
Is National ready for an election this side of Christmas?
Sorry?
Is National ready for an election?
I know you might like the politics beltway conversations. I just say get out of Wellington a little bit more. We are very, very focused on delivering for the New Zealand people, and that is why we're here. There was an election in October 23. There will be an election in 2026. Our job is to just get on with the task at hand and do things like this that are all designed to grow our economy. And I think you've seen that. We've got a government that has been very focused on opening up new free trade arrangements, whether it's with India, the Vietnam, the UAE, soon to be UK. We'll continue to deepening those relationships. We've had an infrastructure summit attracting investment. You just saw on Friday $1 billion investment going down in Waikato, Tainui. You've actually got, we've been out doing India. We've come back dealing with defence. We're responding, I think, to the tariff situation incredibly well. So, we're very focused on making sure that we can lower the cost of living for Kiwis. If they feel we've done a good job and they're better off, they'll re-elect us in 2026.
Crude oil prices have dropped. This is my last question.
Yeah, sure.
Crude oil prices have dropped.
Yes.
What do you make of that?
Well, that's natural. So that's that's a normal feature, and that's where we may actually have some upside benefits. Frankly, as this shakes down, as the full impact of what this means on the global economy comes through, you could have pieces that are deflationary, and that would be imported inflation, for example, with lower fuel prices. That could be quite reasonable to continue. But equally, it's unknown. And all I'm trying to say to New Zealanders is, look, don't worry. We know it's challenging, but we are really well positioned. We've been working really hard in the last 16 months to build and deepen and diversify all of our trade relationships. We are a small country, and we want to frankly grow with every other country we possibly can, and that's why it's full foot, a flat foot down, on full accelerator on the floor, because we're going for it and making sure we grow every opportunity we possibly can.
So back to tourism, are you concerned at all that these campaigns won't be bought by people from foreign countries? Over your term, we've had international headlines about the Treaty Principles Bill, about opening back up mining, and opposition concerns about environmentalism. Are you concerned at all about international?
Absolutely not, my friend. We are growing this country, and we're going to put growth at the heart of everything we do. And you just got to see the growth that we're seeing already in the recovery of tourism. And you've got a government that's backing our tourism operators. You've got a great, wonderful tourism proposition here in New Zealand, and we've got a lot going for this country. So no, it's full steam ahead. And when you've got 154 million people that are actively considering a trip to New Zealand, Zealand, that's just opportunity, and it's about how we get those seams of gold out of those different markets around the world, and we get that money into our pockets here in New Zealand.
Last couple, guys.
Okay.
I sometimes ask, when exactly did you decide to embark on the strategy of calling world leaders to try to push for free trade? And did you give your coalition partners any heads up to that strategy?
Basically, I talk to world leaders all the time, so I've got individual relationships and friendships with many of the different world leaders that I've met over the last 16 months, and even before I came to politics and when I was in opposition. So those conversations are just ongoing, they happen naturally. But I'm just doing what is, as a cabinet, we agreed a course of action to say, look, we're going to take this tariff situation pretty calmly. We're going to work our way through the issue and not overreact to the hype and to media in particular, and what we're seeing internationally in international media. And we're going to deal with the issues and work our way through it. All I'm doing is making calls to leaders, as I said, to make sure everyone else is staying cool and calm, making sure that we deepen up our bilaterals and make sure that the trading blocs don't fight with each other.
Last one.
In terms of the, I'll switch. Can you apologise at any point to Mr. Peters for not sharing Friday's speech?
No, but I wouldn't get in. I just would say to you, you're wanting to make this into a media beat up. This is a government that is very aligned on our approach. I don't know how to say it any other way. I appreciate you wanting to make something out of nothing, frankly. But the point is that we are a government that knows what we're doing here. And whether it's Winston, whether it's myself, whether it's Todd McLeay, whether it's Judith Collins, or whether it's Nicola Willis, we're all very aligned on what we're doing, which is we are here to make sure that we can grow this country, grow this economy, and we're doing everything we can to push all of our trading relationships in every country that we do. And it's quite normal for me to talk to world leaders around these sorts of issues and keep making the case of values that New Zealand stands up for, like free trade, sovereignty of nation states, same thing we do in the security space as we do in the economic space. Cool. All right.